So welcome all of you, welcome in this particular video. Now we are going to discuss or we are going to study the working capital management. Now this particular subject of the working capital management, now it is very important for the students of the commerce or management because now this working capital management, this indicate or this leads to entire investment in the operations. When we started to operate our business activities, for that we required the one kind of capital. Without the arrangements of that kind of capital, we cannot manage to day-to-day activities or day-to-day operations. So now it means your day-to-day operations or day-to-day activities now can be conducted or can be executed or can be operated on the basis of this working capital. So this is the very important for you, all of you, how we can manage it. In the short, we can say that this particular video will get the questions of all, we will get the answer of all the questions. So try to attach with me on and try to give the attention on that particular lectures. You definitely will get some meaningful things and worthwhile. I, Dr. Anil Kumar Tiwari, Faculty of Accounts and Finance. I have a more than the 13-year experience in that particular area. I'm going to explain you the working capital in a very simple way. So let's start with it. And this particular topic, what I covered, I'm going to tell you the first part of this particular presentation is the introductions of the working capital. Then we will discuss the types of working capital or analysis of the working capital. What are the importance of the working capital and what the step of working capital management. So numericals of finding the working capital requirements and the conclusion. So now it means in this particular video, we will get the complete knowledge about the managing the working capital. So focus on that. And the last of this particular video, we may ask a number of questions related with this. The first, what the means of the working capital. Simply, already I told you the working capital. Basically, it is the part of the long-term capital, or it is a part of the long-term funds or long-term sources. So long-term sources or long-term funds, which is now we are using in the working, it means for the day-to-day operations. Simply for the day-to-day functioning or day-to-day operations, the amount which is required or which we have invested from the long term, this is known as the working capital. This is the in the each and every book mention this particular things. Now working capital for the required to manage the day-to-day activities or day-to-day expenses and the day-to-day we can say the operations. So your business will work smoothly. It's very simple. But if you will go into it in the deeply, so you will get the idea about the working capital. It means the long-term investment in the short-term assets. Simply, the long term, we can say the capital invested in the short term assets known as the working capital. On here, what dimensions? The excess of current assets over current liabilities known as the working capital. You know whatever the current assets. Current assets, it means that those assets which will be converted into the cash within a year, within a short period, or within a day, or within a month, known as the current assets. It means this particular assets will give you a generative the revenue within a year. So what the different kinds of these assets we will discuss later. But here I'm going to tell you that this kind, if in the company, this kinds of assets are available, just like a cash or a cash at bank or marketable securities or what we can say the BR, data stock, prepaid expenses, all it is part of this particular current assets. And now in this particular assets, some amount are engaged or some amount are we can say the hold. So that's why this when the working capital, it means the working capital engaged in this particular assets to managing it. So now we are going to simply see what is the working capital. So excess of current assets over current liabilities known as the working capital. It means that this particular funds we have invested from the long term capital, and the current assets now it is the combo pack. Some parts of this current assets now it is managed by the current liabilities. Those liabilities you have borrowed for the short period, and the rest of the part now it is managed by the long term capital. So this is the combo pack. It is the combination of the long term and short term. So that's why working capital invested in it. And when you will deduct the short term parts, so you will get the working capital. It means the capital which is invested. in the working. Now you can see that in this particular screen, the current assets. Current assets, it means the short-term assets, which is converted into the cash within a short period, within a short period of time, known as the current assets. Or simply, the current liabilities, you know very well. The liability which is you have to pay within a year to someone else, known as the current liabilities. In this now, next we are going to discuss the what are different kinds of the working capital. The working capital can be divided into the on the basis of the two types. The first we can divide the working capital on the basis of the value. On the basis of the value, now we can divide the working capital into the two parts. The first part, it is known as the gross working capital, and the second one, it is known as the net working capital. The gross working capital, it means the total amount of current assets, which will convert into the cash within a year, known as this um, gross working capital. And whenever you will deduct the current liability from the current assets, so you will get the net working capital. If this amount is positive, it means your business is able to pay the short-term liabilities. If it is negative, it means now your business is facing a problem of shortage of cash or shortage of amount for incurred. So this is the sign which indicate the performance of the business, or which indicates the cash holding power of the business for the short period. So here we can divide the working capital on the basis of the value. Secondly, now also we can divide on the working capital on the basis of the time. So the first working capital known as the permanent working capital. The second one is known as the temporary working capital. The permanent working capital is simply the minimum investment throughout the year. If we are performing the particular activities or operations, for that you require the minimum amount to invest into it. So this arrangement of this particular minimum amount known as what the permanent working capital, and this amount which can be covered the minimum activities of the your business. This is required. So that's why it is without this we cannot operate your business simply. So this is known as the permanent working capital. Second was the temporary, when you know the at the time of the festival or at the time of the season, some demand will be arise suddenly. So for that, we required the more cash invested into the raw material, or raw material will turn into the product, or this product we will sell it, turn into then it will give you a revenue. For that also you need to be arranged the temporary working capital, so that you can fulfill the demand what will rise at the time of the festival or at the time of the season. So this is known as the temporary working capital. And here this is also known as the fluctuating working capital. So then this very simple way I have explained all these things, the means of working capital and its types. So in next video I will teach you more than that. So thank you all of you. Thank you for listening with patience. Thank you. Thank you all.